Good evening, good day, and welcome from my heart to yours. It is truly a blessing for us to be able to meet in this way. All around the world, we're able to meet in this way, and some of you even in the future tuning in later. What a blessing it is. What a blessing. Okay. So in a couple weeks, May 31st, 2024, we'll have our next online retreat. And this retreat is going to be a little bit different than the others. We are really going to be focusing on opening to the divine, establishing this connection, learning how to pray and to communicate with the divine. And we'll be opening to receiving unique guidance. And this is a skill that everyone needs on planet Earth. And it's a skill that I came in to this world with, and so I took it for granted. I didn't realize that people didn't have the ability to connect with God or to open to God or to receive from the divine. I didn't know that. There were people who didn't know how to do that. To me, it just seemed normal. It's normal as talking to, my mother, my brother, or someone. But sometimes I think people think about, speaking to the divine or connecting to the divine the way I thought about connecting to my father. Like, I was just scared of my father. I didn't know what was going on in his mind. Um, I was afraid that he was angry and judgmental. So a lot of people have this view of God as angry and judgmental, like a judging, angry parent. And, of course, that is not the truth. And the ultimate truth, which is, of course, something else we'll explore on this next retreat, is really giving ourselves full permission to merge into union with the divine. Really coming to know that we are made out of the very fabric of the divine. And so, it'll be an interesting retreat. I hope you can join. And then, I just sent out the newsletter, and there's a retreat after that, another in-person retreat opportunity at Kripalu, July 14th through the 19th. And that one, we're focusing on awakening the heart. Awakening the heart. And it's like, I've always wondered, how can we get anywhere on the path without God, without a connection with the divine? And how can we get anywhere on the path if we don't know our heart, if our heart is not awake? And so right now, let us close down our eyes and just feel into our experience. Inviting the body to soften and to open and to melt, to surrender. Really letting go of the day or the weekend and any busyness. And can you join me in noticing right now that which is awake and alive? And radiant right here. Can we come to experience your radiance? And how about your peace? So discovering this gentle, awake, aware, alive radiance. And coming to know this peace, this spaciousness, this quietude and stillness. And can we honor both? Radiance, stillness, peace, and light. Peace and light. And continuing to open the space of your heart, this expanding consciousness that you are. And for this to work, of course, you're going to have to put down your thoughts. So you won't find this experience of all thinking. Can you look directly and see the beauty, the purity, the innocence of your heart? And for any of you that's a struggle, let's welcome. Let's welcome your innocence and your purity online. Let's welcome it. Let's connect that which is good and true and beautiful. Simultaneously, let's allow our consciousness to expand, knowing this peace, this timeless stillness, this vast eternal nature of your being, beyond any name or form. Can we open? Can we open? As we continue to open, can you receive gentle sweetness and love from the divine? Perhaps a feeling of holiness, radiant divinity. Do you remember who you are? Who you truly are? Beyond name and form and career, conditioning, family, all that stuff. Do you remember Sam, Taylor, Greg, Megan, who you truly are? Do you know, Lauren, that you are the light and that you are the love? And so will you join me going deeper into the recognition of the depth of your being, the truth of your being? Can you smile as you recognize your divinity, Julie? And yes, this is what I am. This is what I am. I am the light. I am the love. Can you recognize the truth that you are, Tyler? Sweet compassion that you are, Jennifer. For some of us to recognize what we are, we might have to surrender something first. We might have to put something down or put something away. Johan, can you see? Can you recognize your fearlessness? Your fearlessness, your clarity. Catherine, do you know you are a goddess and not a little goddess? Really big, bright goddess. Really big, bright goddess. Do you know this? And so each of you, I invite you to dig deep, discover your truth, know your truth, claim your truth, claim your truth. Can you come to know that you are an inextinguishable light, inextinguishable light, light that cannot be put out. So continuing to open, continuing to receive this grace, this heavenly love. And smiling as I welcome you into Satsang. A smile at your divinity. At your divinity. Okay, and so if you like, you can open your eyes, and if you want to keep meditating, that's fine too. That's fine too. Tonight I wanted to speak about something, and often I reflect. I feel like, geez, as a spiritual teacher, often you say the same kind of thing over and over again. I think probably most teachers say the same thing over and over again. Um, but there was this book. It's a real famous book by Carolyn Mace, and the title of it is a brilliant title. Why some people don't heal. And I'm going to kind of build on that. Like why some people don't heal, why some people don't wake up. And every week I feel like, I'm giving instructions or answering questions on waking up. But I thought it'd be fun, to talk about like, how to screw it up, what not to do. And it's important to know. It's important to really, look at things in a real positive light. And then sometimes we need to look at things, on the flip side, like what not to do. What not to do. Like whenever I'm about to do something new or be a part of a new group, I want to know what not to do, like what not to do. And yeah, I can remember being a little boy and going with my older brother. He used to take me and my friends, to the rifle range when we were kids. And as a little boy, like that's something like really exciting. And of course, also, fairly terrifying if it's your first time. And it's like if you're on a range, if you're on a live fire range, you want to know what not to do. Like that's a big thing. You want to know what not to do. A bunch of guys hanging out with guns. It's like I want to know what not to do, how not to mess this up. And there's all these rules, just to keep everyone real safe. And yeah, I grew up with firearms, so I'm real comfortable with them. People who didn't grow up with them or don't, never been around them. I think that most people who, have firearms are like hillbillies or just lunatics or this or that. But, there's, just since the beginning of time, people have shot targets. It's just something that humans have done. And, when you show up in an environment like that, there's a seriousness about it. There's a directness about it. And also you want to know, like we have some real dangerous weapons here. And even if we're, it's 2000 years ago and we're practicing archery, you don't want to shoot your friend. You don't want your friend to shoot you. You want to know what not to do. And so I thought I'd have a little fun just talking about, well, how do we screw up the path? Because sometimes I think it's just a very interesting thing because often when I'm speaking with someone, I come to realize that they are not listening to a word I'm saying. And I begin to smile inside sometimes. I'm like, they're not going to do any of this. They're not going to do anything I'm saying. And it can be a little bit frustrating, and, other people who are teachers too, I see Kyle smiling. He probably has the same experience, working with high school kids or middle school kids. Like you're, okay, here's the instructions and they're not listening and they're not going to do it. It's just like, but people, when they come to satsang, they come by choice. They come by choice. And so it's an interesting thing for me. And what's even more interesting is when people pay for sessions, which are, quite expensive. Anytime you schedule time with a healer, a counselor, a teacher, a therapist, whatever, it's like, it's going to cost some money. But to show up and to not listen, or to show up and to argue, or to show up and to have no intention of changing. To me, I'm just like, why are people doing that? Why do people do this? And humans are crazy, but I loved it that Carolyn Mace, she's great gifted healer, intuitive, a medical intuitive. Any of you don't know about her, she's a wonderful teacher. She's no nonsense. I like that about her. She doesn't mess around, and she'll tear you to shreds. Like if you're not careful. if we show up to one of her in-person events, she doesn't put up with any BS, is what I'm saying. I wrote a little bit about this in the latest newsletter. That I want us as a Sangha to fight for the truth, to fight for your heart, to fight to wake up. And often our fight is misplaced. We fight with a teacher, we fight with someone giving us feedback, we fight with life, and life is constantly putting pressure on us to wake up, to heal. Life is always putting pressure on us, showing us the things that do not work, that do not work. And many of us, we fight with life. We're like, no, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, even though it's not working, even though it's not working. I think a lot of people, well, we'll get into it. We'll get into the whys. We'll have a little fun with it. But when I was at Mass this morning, Father John, he said something beautiful. And boy, have I been waiting for him to say this for a while. But my wife, I told you all this, that she, her and my daughter, they wanted to be baptized. And I've been telling them all this time, if you guys want to be baptized, like, I can baptize you. I'll just take you down the river. I'll baptize you here, come over to the sink, like wherever you're at, like, I'll baptize you. We can do this. Like, come on, we can do it. My wife, she really wanted to do it through the church, but Father John this morning, he said, and he gave this sermon, he said, look, if you've been baptized, and I just, I'm going to be real loose with it. If anyone is close, to God, if anyone has this connection, it's like, yeah, go out and baptize, baptize your friends, your family, whatever. Like, we're just communing. We're communing in the divine. But he was saying, if you've been baptized, you can baptize your friends or family. He was basically saying, like, go out and be a missionary in the world. And if there's no priest around and you want to baptize someone, like, do it. Like, do it. And then he went on to say, he said, you are a priest. And we can make that priestess as well. You're a priest. Like, okay, or priestess. You are a king. I was like, boy, I like this sermon. You're a priest, you're a king. And then he said, you're a prophet. And this is true for all of us. That we are all royalty. We're divine royalty. We all are conduits. That's what a priest is. A priestess is a conduit of grace, of light, of love. Actually, we're a conduit of whatever our consciousness is. Like right now, somewhere, like in a church basement somewhere, it's a Sunday night, somewhere across the United States, people are conduits for bingo right now. It's just like the elderly are playing bingo. And they're a conduit for gaming, for gaming. And, like, we could be a conduit for, I don't know, football or something. We could be a conduit for the Democratic Party. If we're really into that kind of nonsense, like, we could be a conduit for that. We could be a conduit. We are conduits. And so, are we a conduit of grace? Are we royalty? Yes. Are we a prophet? What's a prophet? Someone who brings the truth, who realizes the truth, who speaks the truth and shares it with others. That's all of us. That's all of us. That's what we are. That's our true nature. Our true nature. But many of us, instead, and we're going to get into the part how we screw it up. Many of us, instead of being our true nature, instead of us being a king or being royalty, being a prophet, instead of doing that, we say, well, my parents taught me that I was no good and that I'm unworthy of love. And so I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to identify. And in this day and age, right? Isn't that what we do? We identify. I identify with being unworthy and no good. No good. I identify as being guilty. I identify as being a hot mess. I identify with my confused and chaotic mind. That's what I'm going to be. That's what I'm going to be. So if you don't want to wake up, if you don't want to heal, be attached to your terrible self-image, your traumatized self-image, your confused parents' view of their child, and just be that thing. Like, that's a way we can screw it up. And be attached to it, fight for it, say, this is what I am. This is what I am. I'm going to say this. I had someone scream at me this week saying, you don't know who I am. You don't know who I am. Screaming at me at the top of their lungs. And I was like, damn, I do know who you are. You're a goddess. I know who you are. And you want to argue with me the entire time, telling me you are a wounded, broken, beat down individual. That you have no power, you have no authority. It's just shocking to me. Like, there's these moments in my job, in this vocation, where I have to challenge people. And a lot of people, many of you are like, I like Craig, he's kind of boring, but sometimes he's loving. I like that love part. But then occasionally I'll have to challenge you. I have to put a little gentle pressure on aspects of your ego that are out of alignment. And some people, it's very interesting to me. Some people fight back. They spit fire. They start attacking me, telling me I'm a no good teacher or therapist. They go on and this and that. They tell me I'm wrong, I'm confused, and it's like, I'm fighting for you to know that you are a goddess, that you are Buddha, that you are the Christ. I'm fighting for you. There's that old saying, I can remember, this is a real Southern thing. It's like, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Someone's trying to help you. I had a teacher who put pressure on my ego all the time. All the time. Maybe 1 in 1,000 times, I might correct him for clarification, just so he had the details right of what he was attacking me for. But he was attacking me in the name of love. He was putting pressure on the guarded aspects of my being. And I had this basic intention. I'm with this guy because I want to wake up. I'm with him because I want to wake up. Because I'm tired of my own egoic voice. I mean, I could easily look out at my life and say, my life is not working. It's not working. It's not working. My relationships are a mess. My finance is a mess. My living situation is a mess. My mental, emotional nature is a mess. Here's a man with clarity. And he would use his clarity and put pressure on the aspects of me that were unclear, that were confused, that were divided. I wasn't going to argue with him because I knew I was wrong. I knew I was wrong. I knew he knew the way. I knew if I listened and opened and allowed the thing that wasn't working, if I allowed it to be cut to pieces, if I let go of identification with it, then I was going to open into something greater than the thing I was previously holding on to. But let's have some fun here. I made a little list of some ways that people screw up the path. And sometimes it's just purely out of habit. It's like the first one is real simple. It's gentle. It's like people are just stuck in the habit of being me. Like, this is what I am. This is what I am. I've identified with this mind, this emotional nature. And, I'm under the spell of the ego, thinking this is what I am. I am the loudest, most distorted voice in my head. I am that thing. And, we have to remember, like Spiritual Awakening 101, we are here to let go of that. We are here to let go of the habit. We're here to let go of the lesser self. I have a garden here, and I went out and I did this wonderful thing. I rented a rototiller. I tilled up all the grass and I made the soil all nice, to plant some seeds. And I went and I planted some seeds. And then I started watering the garden. And the first thing that came back was grass. The first thing that came back was grass. I was like, dang, I thought that rototiller was just going to make it all magically disappear. But it tilled it all up and the grass came back. The grass came back out of habit. It came back because it was there. It was there. And many of us, we need to weed our garden. And when you're with a teacher, like sometimes a teacher will come and help you weed your garden. But some people, I feel like I'm picking on some people. Some people, they identify with the weeds. Like, have you ever done that? Have you ever identified with the weeds? Said, this is what I am. I'm a mean thistle. I'm prickly and I'm angry. And I'm, what are thistles? They're persistent. Persistent. There's another word. It's like, have you ever tried to get thistles out of your garden or out of your yard? Like you pick one and then like 3 come back. You're like, what happened here? If you pull it up, you don't get the whole root. It grows back stronger. Just amazing persistence in a thistle. And some people, they show up to these teachings and they're like, I'm a thistle. I'm a thistle. I'm a thistle. And I'm like, you're a goddess. They're like, I'm a thistle. You're a goddess. No, I'm not. I'm a thistle. You don't know me. I was like, I do know you. I do know you. You're a divine being. You're a prophet. You're the Holy One. You're a queen, a goddess, a king. You're royalty. I'm fighting for that. I'm fighting for that. I'm going to tell you a silly story. This happened to me. The other day at jiu-jitsu, and it's a little bit embarrassing, but so I went in, I train jiu-jitsu. I'm in there, most days of the week. And one of the professors, that's the teachers there, one of the professors, the black belts, they said, hey, I want everyone to be here Friday. And, They said, some people, they named some other people who should come, and they said, oh, Craig, you should come too. you know I thought, oh, okay, like I should come. And they said it's a day for promotions, and all my friends were like patting me on the back. Oh, patting me on the back, say, hey, Craig, you're up for a promotion, congratulations. And I just put my head down. I didn't say anything. I'm just like, I'm not, I'm just going to show up and do my thing, and I'm not going to get excited. And so I show up Friday, and all kinds of people got promotions. And when I was, walking in, people were patting me on the back. They're like, Craig, today's your big day. And I was like, yeah. I'm just going to just go to class. And I went to class, and no promotion, no promotion, no promotion. And it's okay. It's okay. I'm the same person, the same divinity, with or without that egoic promotion, with or without the status, with or without a polished mask. I said this funny thing to Patrick, who took he took photos of the San Diego retreat, and he sent them to me. And I was like, oh, Patrick, thank you so much for these photos. And I said, I noticed that in some of them, or maybe all of them, my hair was messed up. And there was parts where I was missing patches of hair. Could you make me look more handsome and fill in the hair? And it's like, we have to really think on the spiritual path. Who am I? Am I the mask? Like when I'm at jujitsu, am I the guy, wearing, am I the colored belt? Am I the colored belt? Or am I the spirit? Am I the spirit? So I came out of jujitsu just, really humbled. My friends were all like, oh man, I'm so sorry it didn't happen. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. I just want to get out of here without any more people commenting on my mask. Like, I don't care what the mask is. I just love the spirit of jiu-jitsu. I love the spirit of training. I came home and I listened to this podcast with Hoist Gracie. He was the first one in the UFC who really put jiu-jitsu on the world map. And I listened to him speak, and he spoke with great mastery about the art, this gentle art of jiu-jitsu. And it just made me so happy just to be in the spirit of it. I don't care about rank. I don't care about promotions. I don't care about the mask. I'm only interested in the spirit. And the spirit, and some of us, like, we come to the spiritual path and we show up with a mask, and we think we're going to come here and polish our mask or guard our mask or defend the mask. And that's not what we're here to do. We're here to take off the mask and to see what's underneath. Some of us hold on to that mask so tightly, so tensely. Like, this is what I am. And I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. I want to scream sometimes back. No, you're not. That's not what you are. You are not your mask. You are the light behind the mask. The love, the radiance, the essence behind the mask. And so back to this garden, boy, I kind of go all over the place. It's like with this garden that I have, like I have to go out there and weed now. I have to weed the grass out of the garden. And like in spiritual terms, like when we have thoughts in our mind, in our consciousness, that are thoughts that limit us, we need to weed those thoughts out of there. If we don't, those weeds take over our garden. They take over our consciousness. Our friend comes over and looks at our garden and says, I don't see a garden, I see a yard full of weeds. We have to weed our garden. And as human beings, it's this interesting thing. Our mask will have all these thoughts. God doesn't love me. Life doesn't support me. Nobody cares about me. I'm not enough. One day when I'm a spiritual teacher, then I'll be enough. One day when I'm married, then I'll be enough. One day when I have the red car, then I'll be enough. It's like, let's weed those thoughts out of there and see what you are without those thoughts. And sometimes on the path, it's just that simple is some individuals do not want to let go of their negative thoughts. And to me, it's insane. It's insane. When I see a negative thought within me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been believing this. I can't believe I've been having this on autoplay in the back of my consciousness. Like, let's weed that out of there. And sometimes it's as simple as just pulling it out and putting a boundary around it. Sometimes I'll tell people to set a boundary with their own mind. And I say, well, that's not loving, Craig. You're not being loving. It's like, I mean, is letting a kid do whatever they want all the time loving? Because that's what our consciousness is like. Our human egoic consciousness, it's like a little kid who's always having a tantrum, who's attached to his blankie. It's like, hey, man, that blankie is old and dirty and it's holding you back. Let go of that blankie. So you can go play on the slide. So you can go play on the slide. So you can go play on the slide. You step into a greater world. Like it's really hard. Really hard. I can remember when I saw a skateboard for the first time, I was just in love with that thing. I was like, oh my God, I want to ride that. I want to ride that. And you know, like I was 2 years older. I'm the middle kid, but I was 2 years older than my younger brother. My younger brother and me, we did everything together. And so I started talking about a skateboard and he wanted one too. But there became this moment in history where it's like, okay, like we're going to have to let go of our little stuffies if we want to get on a skateboard. Like we're big boys now. Like we have to let go of that stuffy if we're going to get on a skateboard now. We got to be big. We got to be tough. We have to let go of the past. And so some individuals, they just don't have faith. They don't have any faith. And that's one of the great ways we can screw things up is if we step on the path and we have no faith in God. We have no faith in the truth. We have no faith in love. We have no faith in our strength. What we have faith in is our egoic identity. This is what I am. You don't understand me in my life. This is what I am. It's worked this far. It's like, oh, okay. It's worked this far. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? And some people will come and they'll ask a question. I feel like I'm being really mean tonight, but I just want to just go to be direct because I've been a little frustrated recently. I'm just going to admit it. I've been a little frustrated. Some people even email me like, Craig, you got a tough job. You got a tough job. Some people want to come and they're not, they want to raise their hand, not and ask a question, but really they just want to talk and listen to them talk and have everyone listen to them talk. But without any question, without wanting anything from the teacher, without any intention of growing or changing or evolving. And this really isn't the place for that. It's not the place just to talk and talk from your egoic perspective. It's not a place for your ego to have the mic. This is a place for your goddess nature to have the mic. This is a place for that part of you that's struggling to ask a sincere question. How do I end this suffering? How do I end this suffering that I'm in? Like when my teacher, if I asked him a question and he gave me the answer, I would do that thing. I would do that thing. Now, I would fail often at doing it, but I would try again. I say, he said, this is the way. And then I would read one of these 800 spiritual books I have behind me. And this is only like a quarter of my spiritual books, by the way. It's like I have so many books. It's ridiculous. I've read so many books. And it's like, oh my gosh, Sri Aurobindo is saying the same thing as Yogananda, as Gandhi, as Vivekananda, as his teacher did, Ramakrishna, as my teacher did, as his teacher Hilda did, as they all say the same thing. And oh my gosh, I'm hearing the same thing at church, and I'm hearing it in the Bible, and I'm hearing it in any of the Buddhist texts, and I'm hearing it in the Dzogchen teachings, and I'm hearing it in the Tantric teachings. It's the same teaching, the same teaching. And so if we ask a question, our teacher, our friend, or if our heart, how about that? If you're in the inquiry group, I've gotten so much great feedback from people about the inquiry group. If you're in the inquiry group and you ask, who am I? And your heart says love. And let's not say, nope, I'm a disgruntled, angry ego. That's who I am. And I hate myself. Let's not do that. Let's say, oh, I'm love. I am love. How about I love the parts of me that are suffering? How about I do that? How about I do that? Sometimes I work with individuals and it's really interesting. They're righteous. And the thing I'm going to invite all of us to look at is like, how do I do this? Do I do any of this? Like, am I righteous in my egoic nature? Like, my God, with with COVID and with politics and hating Trump and this and that, it's like so much righteousness. And I see so much of that here in this community, so much righteousness. Like, I see Anthony Fauci's face, so much righteousness. And I love it that the NIH said, yes, 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 yes. Anthony Fauci and us and all of us here, we funded gain of function research. I was so happy to hear that, just for the truth to come out, just for the truth to come out. I love it when people lie and the truth comes out. And it's a beautiful thing. I love it when I lie and then God corrects me. I'm just like, I love it because often it's so quick. It's like, oh, look, there it is. There it is. That little manipulative, smug aspect of my being. My being. And I can see it on the world stage with everyone's favorite Anthony Fauci. People loved him, thought that guy was a saint. It's like, oh my Lord. My Lord. I even had videos removed. YouTube is just sending me notification the other day. Mr. Holliday, we're removing some of your videos. For speaking the truth. Now, one day, will they course correct? Who knows? Who knows? We lie as human beings. We lie so much. So much. So much. And we lie. I love the definition of lie that I heard from Eli Jackson Bear. Lying is simply a form of camouflage. We lie because we're afraid. Because we're afraid. Because we're afraid. We're afraid of the truth. We're afraid that the truth will kill us. And it will. It will kill and destroy our mask. All you righteous Democrats in the group, the truth will show you. that your party will not save the world. Will not. And for you angry, disgruntled Republicans, the truth will show you the same. Will show you the same. And individuals they come to spiritual circles, and they ask, why? Why don't I heal? How do you heal? First they ask, how do you heal? How do you heal? And then they don't do the loving of oneself. They don't do the letting go. Instead of trusting in the truth, they trust in their own lies. And then occasionally, we hold on really tightly to our lies. Hold on so tightly to them. So tightly. We hold on so tightly to our politics, to our identity. We say, this is me. This is me. In a circle like this, in a group like this, I'll say, no, it's not. No, it's not. You are the divine. You are the divine. You are not a collection of ideas. You are not a mask. So the people who don't heal, the people who don't awaken, are the ones who hold tightly to their masks, who identify only with their mask. This is what I am. This is it. This is what I am. This is what I am. This is a place to have your mask removed, destroyed, cut to shreds. It's not a place to polish your mask. Not a place. So Patrick, he wrote me back after I emailed him and said, hey, can you make my pictures look, can you make me look more handsome? Can you fill in my hair? Can you fill in my hair? Can you fill in my hair? He said, oh yes, you want to, let me polish your mask for you. Let me polish your mask. That's not what we're here to do. We're not here to polish each other's masks. We're here to see the truth, to live the truth. And we don't need to guard ourselves from the truth. I encourage us to open, to trust in the truth. Trust that truth is healing and it's liberating. It is so wonderful. When you find a lie that you've been telling yourself and realize, oh my God, I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. Love is the way. My mind was plotting a story of revenge. Love is the way. Love is the way. I was wrong about revenge. I was wrong about making them pay. I was wrong about upholding my ego. To be able to admit I was wrong. I was wrong. The truth sets us free. And the more we guard our mask, the more enslaved we'll be to it. To it. Okay. Some people have another reason we don't heal, again, because we have pride in our ego. Pride. Some individuals, and again, this is this is a crazy thing. Some people have pride in their suffering, and their whole egoic defense revolves around letting everyone know that I have suffered the most. I've suffered the most. I've had the worst pain and trauma. And if you sit down, I can tell you all the hellish things I've been through. It's like people have pride in their idea that they've suffered the most. What's interesting to me is when a couple of those same individuals show up in the same group. It's like I can see them. I see them. Sometimes they get a little jealous when the other one is speaking because the other one's getting all the attention. And we have to ask ourselves, am I here on the spiritual path to get attention from my open-hearted friends, from my sympathetic friends? Or am I here to awaken? Am I here to be prideful and tell my story again? You don't understand. Let me tell you how much I've suffered. Let me tell you about all the terrible things that happened this week. Let me tell you again. What I want to hear about is about how strong you are to have outlived that pain. How much love is here within your heart to be able to hold the one that's suffering, hold the one that's holding on to this terrible story. That's the one I want to speak to. That's the one I want to know about. That's the one I want you to shine your light of awareness on. Not in pride for suffering the most. It's a common thing. Some people have pride in being unlovable. This is a very interesting one to me. And I was so confused by all these different aspects of the self all these different aspects of the mask, that I went and got a master's in psychology. As I said, gosh, I have all these different parts of myself, all these different masks. And they're all crazy. They're all crazy. And so I thought, I need to study some psychology to just to be able to untangle this mess. My little girl, she does like knitting, like crocheting, and occasionally like we'll go to a garage sale and she'll be like, oh dad, look, like some old lady's garage sale, it'll be like balls and balls of yarn, but they're all tangled up. It'll be like 50 cents. The old lady's like, take this out of my house. I don't want to look at this tangled up ball of yarn ever again. And it ends up at my house. And my little girl's like, daddy, like I want to crochet. Can you help me untangle this? And I'm like, you're untangling this mess, and it's like you pull one end and it gets tighter. And sometimes, like when we're dealing with our ego, it can be like that. And so it can be very helpful to have some training. I needed a lot of training, and I started to untangle one aspect of my ego. Like let's say like one part that was shut down, and as I began to open to it, I saw, oh, there was a part that felt that he should just be working. And I started to untangle that. It's like, what's that about? Like, you should always be working. Like, what is that about? I started to untangle that, and I realized, oh, like there's this angry drill sergeant voice in my head. It's like, okay, let's untangle that. And again, it's like all these ways of just continuing to seek after the truth. I said, okay, I should always be working. And I got this drill sergeant in my head. And I looked inside, I saw, God, there's something down there deep. that feels really unworthy, that he should be at the end of the line, and he doesn't want to be seen. And sometimes, like when you're untangling something, it's like, oh my God, like you just can't get to that deep knot in the center of that ball of yarn. You got to flip it over 15 different ways. Maybe you have to do some other type of healing work. And I realized, oh, like my father taught me this. And I saw, oh, there's a part of me that was angry at my father. And I sort of untangled that. And as I was untangling the part that was angry at my father, I realized, oh, he's just like me. And then I had him in there with me too. So I had like Craig who was suffering, then my father's consciousness was suffering. And I was like, oh, they both need love and forgiveness. They both need love and forgiveness. And they both need someone who's willing to sit with them. To sit and listen. To sit and listen. And to breathe love into that pain. And then someone to gently pressure them. Hey, why don't you try another way? Why don't you try another way than just working all the time? I even turned like my work ethic into meditation. I was like, I'll just meditate all the time. It's like, no, how about you love yourself first? You're doing good with meditation, but how about you love yourself first? And how about you learn about forgiveness? And how about you learn about slowing down? And see, now we're getting into the truth. Now we're headed in the right direction. But I couldn't imagine, someone coming to me saying like, hey, it appears that you're not loving yourself. And I couldn't imagine looking at that individual and arguing back, arguing back like sometimes people do with me. It appears you're not loving yourself. It appears you have some negative thought forms. And arguing back. Because some people have pride in their identity of being the broken one. Some people do something that's quite active. It's an interesting dance where I'm attempting to help them to love or to let go or to heal or to be kind to themselves. And they have a thought, a belief that they're unworthy. And they start attacking me to frustrate me. They're attempting to make me very angry at them so that they can prove to themselves that they are unworthy of love. I'm just like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Let's not do that. Let's not sabotage. Let's not sabotage. Some people are addicted. Addicted. Attached or addicted. It's pretty much the same. Attached and addicted to sabotaging any support they get. It's just amazing. It's amazing. It seems like this is a lot of work. This is a lot of work. A lot of work. I've had a lot of friends who've had this one. And it's really interesting. Sometimes I'll do something like really sweet for them, like in a big way, maybe in an extravagant way. And then afterwards, they find a reason to hate me so they don't have to receive the thing. And I was like, geez, like, hey man, I'm on your team. I'm on your team. Like, we're friends. We're friends. We're friends. that the path is really very simple. Like the instructions, the work is simple. It's not easy, but it is simple. And by that I mean it's not complicated. If we have pain within us, we have to love what's here. We have to love the pain. We also might need a boundary around our thoughts and our reactions to that pain. We have to be willing to open and feel in order to let go. Once we do let go, it's important not to pick up the old thoughts again. Not to pick up the old thoughts again. A lot of people are right on the edge of healing or right on the edge of waking up. Some people even do wake up and then they pick up those old thoughts. And I can remember the first time I did that, I had a big awakening experience. And then I was driving home, from that retreat, and I saw these thoughts come into my mind. And they felt very familiar. Very familiar. It was almost like a sweet, familiar, how do we say that word? They were sweet and familiar. I felt like a warm blanket on a cold day. And I started to cozy up with them. They actually cozied up with me because I saw them come in. They cozied up with me. And I can remember looking at them and saying, no, 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 no. And other thoughts, this is a little bit later, other thoughts kind of snuck their way back into me. And I didn't realize I said yes. I just fell back into that habit. And then after a while, I started to experience pain and being shut down and contracted. And I realized, oh, these old thoughts, these old habits have the power to veil my divinity. And so we have to get comfortable with casting things out. Casting some things out. We have to get comfortable with saying no. We have to get comfortable with feeling things that are uncomfortable and allowing them to release. And after they release, don't pick them up again. This path of spiritual awakening is a path, it's a game of identification. The thing you identify with will grow. If you identify as a weed, you'll experience being a weed. If you identify as a flower and you water the flower, it will grow, will bloom. It'll bring forth great fruit. Great fruit. I hope this day I've lit a fire for you. A fire for you. A fire of truth, a fire of love. A fire for the realization of your highest nature. And please forgive me if I was offensive But it's part of my job is to be offensive. And it's always a great question. Who is it? What is it that is offended? For it can only be the false self that's offended. I cannot offend your true self. Your true self is too bright, too beautiful, too holy and divine to be offended. It knows what it is. And it shines compassion toward those who don't acknowledge it, who mistake it. A part of being on the path is just this quiet recognition that our human mask is not the truth. And so we'll be continually offended. It will be continually have the carpet pulled out from under it by reality. It's the job of reality. It's to show you you're not your mask. You're not your mask. For you are all of life, the hugeness of life. And also that sweet, gentle, innocent, pure, immense presence behind the mask, behind all masks. And so, I think that's all she wrote. So much love to all of you. So good to be with you. Continue to open. Continue to shine your light with the world. Be the truth. Be the highest. May love, truth, absolute divinity, and peace triumph throughout creation, now and forevermore. Okay. Good night, everyone. Good to be with you. Much love.